Caught an interesting map. They've changed it, so they've got the only 2 rocks now blocking off those kind of side areas of the map. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Lambo handles it. It's really going to affect him more than the Protoss player, and it'll be perhaps a challenge, difficult to scout, and we'll see how Lambo approaches it.
Oh yeah, and speaking of, here he is in the top right-hand corner of Crimson Core. We have our German Zerg player, the Blue Zerg representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Lambo.
Mastermind of the German taxi himself and his opponent. A very powerful European Protoss player. Down here in the bottom left, it's the red Protoss. It is Goblin.
Go. And before we get too ahead of ourselves, before we, jump too headfirst into this, how you been? Like, we kind of jumped right into the last one. Didn't get to talk, didn't get to chat, A lot of people, I'm sure, are maybe unfamiliar. I mean, who wouldn't be familiar with Ryan NXZ Jones? But,
Okay. But let's go, baby. Nice.
Have you been, and tell us, what has been going on with the ex-pro player? Ex-pro, returning pro? What brought you back?
Returning pro. Okay, very speculative. I like that. All right. Okay. I think X-pro is generous, so I'll allow that. Perhaps I'll allow that. But yeah, I've been dabbling a little bit, as you know. I've been participating in a bit of rage-fueled ladder sessions, and having a good time with that. Yeah. Otherwise, I think things are good. Really just enjoying playing a bit of StarCraft. I think. Look, I like the game state as it is now. I think a lot of people have complaints, but I think overall there's a lot of good aside from the map pool overall.
I see. So for those who are maybe unfamiliar, NXZ, he is an Australian Protoss player, and he was one of the best back in the day. Has been around for a very long time. Even traveled abroad and competed as well. I remember that. And
so
yeah, you stepped away for a while. You stepped away, but you came back. Is there any reason as to why you came back? Did something attract you to it? Did something draw you back in? That's
a good question. I don't know. Yeah, who knows? I'm a enigmatic guy.
Okay.
Hard to predict, like VIP.
Okay.
And that's why, and that's what contributes to my aura and mysteriousness. Right? So.
I see. Well, you came back and the Smoge is still there as well, clearly, right? With the ladder, it's still.
Oh, obviously.
Yeah.
We're all here to Smoge, ultimately.
I remember the last time I cast with Asher, he had also recently returned, and he was talking about how once you leave the game, it's so freeing, it's so refreshing, it's a breath of fresh air, but sometimes you miss the pain, you can't appreciate the good without some of the bad, and even though the ladder can be a little bit rage inducing, right, at least it keeps you alive.
100%. It just feels so good to be grinding for those made-up points next to your name.
Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah, so this is the interesting part of this map. Okay, so I hate to dive straight in. So now Lambo is going to be able to see that the third base is going down with his Overlord, which is very important here. But now the Protoss player can later on deny this later if he uses his Stalker with the Oracle, he can shut down this Overlord, and then it's very, very hard for Zerg to get information. Is there gases? Is he making probes on the third? You can't get speedlings over there. So really a big challenge of this map is you can think of it almost like one of these in-base natural maps where Protoss gets 3 bases and he can sort of just hide a lot of information. And so Lambo taking this forward base, which positions him to possibly be going for something aggressive, we'll see. He is taking that gas.
Yeah, we have seen quite a lot of Queen-based all-ins, Queen Drop-a-Lord-based all-ins, or even a Nidus, as we do pick off one of the Oracles already. Big pick off there by Lambo. But as you said, it's a very assertive position, and we are even taking advantage of this space with the Rich Vespene Gas Geyser. Speaking of this, Roach Warren on the way, a very fast Roach Warren, considering it is a Stargate opener, so Lambo, he may be looking to cut some workers a little bit sooner than we would otherwise think.
Now this is going to be interesting. Goblin doesn't treat his oracles as well. Like stats, he also doesn't love them and appreciate them. Losing one there in the in that.
Just like stats.
Yeah, exactly. Both Protoss players, they're just discarding their powerful unit here, and so here's the challenge, right? Is there probes coming out like crazy, or is there an immortal all in? You know what I mean? Like, what exactly is going on? Lambo is, I think, looking to get aggressive. Is he just gonna send these queens over?
Yeah.
He's just gonna walk them.
Yeah.
Here they come.
As we mentioned, again, this map is very popular for queen-based all-ins, and here we go, we're building across the map. We have Roach's Lings behind us, we're cutting workers at 48. It is full-on all-in here from Lambo, and we don't care about the third base. We're going straight for the kill, straight for the natural. Now, Goblin does see it coming ahead of time. He does throw down the cannons and shield batteries as quickly as possible, but can he hold?
Yeah, so the advantage here is really just the length of the map, and he is going to start working on the rocks. I don't think he's really going to be able to bust that down, and all these units are really out of position for Goblin. If this gateway goes down, I mean, that's a big pickoff. That's really uncontested so far.
Yeah, the gateway over halfway down here, and it's going to be bowed down eventually. We do see more side defense on the way. We have stasis traps as well. Lambo has to be very careful with how he does engage, but he will break through. He takes down the Cybercore.
Cybercore is going to be dead, so it's only going to be Zealots being warped in, and the Zerg player is getting in. Ooh, here comes the battery overcharge. He's going to back out for now. He has no creep here, by the way. The Overlords, I guess, picked off.
Yeah, the Overlord was picked up earlier. The Queens, they cannot transfuse. As you mentioned, there is no creep. The stasis traps did catch a lot of Lings, but the Lings are about to break out of that stasis.
The cannon goes down, and now Lambo's pushing forward here. Can Goblin hold on? He's got more cannons in the back, and this Zerg army looks so powerful, and there's no Stalkers to warp in, so this Blink is really only going to be useful for those 5 Stalkers.
Yeah, there's
more Ravagers than there are Gateway units.
The Cybercore's still in the way. Goblin holding onto those warp-ins, praying here, but alas, it looks like the natural base has been broken. It has been compromised. You see Goblin pulling all the way back here towards his third, but it is going to be an uphill battle for Goblin. Lambo, who's already done so much.
But he really still does need to break the Protoss player here. I'm not sure how far away his next battery overcharge is, and that's going to be a very critical thing. Look, is Lambo getting chased back for now, and actually here, Goblin still has a relatively respectable probe count, so Lambo still hasn't quite done enough to really justify this all-in.
Yeah, and Lambo, he's transitioning.
More units coming.
There are more units. We do
have
the
battery overcharge.
Oh.
Okay, it's down, and that's a big pick off for Lambo.
That is a big pick of more Lings rushing in as well. Looks like we're going for the kill. We're going for the natural base. Behind us, Lair is on the way. We're taking additional gases. We're expanding as well. So Lambo is trying to work on that next step. He's still not droning, but good target firing on the Ravagers.
Yeah, this is going to be a very, very critical point of the game. I think a lot of these units for Lambo are, oh my gosh, they're just... he was distracted. He loses a lot. 2 Immortals out now, and Lambo's going to get pushed back. And I think Goblin's going to be very, very pleased with this defense, and more units getting picked off for Lambo, getting punished by the pathing on this map. Yeah, he does have the lair, like you mentioned, Evo Chamber.
There's an Evo Chamber on the way. Lambo, he still has not droned, bear that in mind. And as you mentioned, Goblin, he's on 61 probes. He did retain his worker count. May have lost his position, but I mean, shout out to Goblin, by the way, for preserving his workers and keeping them alive throughout the entirety of that defense. Now Goblin, he's in a good position. He did not lose the natural, by the way. It's still up and running.
Yeah, exactly right. That was such a critical point in the game there. Lambo didn't quite get enough done. He had a very nice start to his all-in. He broke into the natural, but he wasn't able to either get a decisive, crushing victory over the gateway units or pick off the natural base. He needed one or the other. Neither came through, and now Goblin, he's getting very satisfied with his position. Like you mentioned, there's still been 0 drones made here for Lambo. He's added on other things. He's making Overlord speed. Is there some round 2 on the cards here? I mean, what exactly is he looking for?
Yeah, I mean, it has to be, right? Like, if we refuse to make drones, if we're going for Overlord speed, I imagine we're going to be bringing Overlords this time to spread creep so we can transfuse, help support those queens. Oracles, they come in, they kill what little is left of the economy here. We can't afford to lose these workers. At the same time, I guess we are spending a lot of energy that won't be used in the defense. Like Lambo, he's just getting ready for that second all-in.
Like, he has 36 workers. It's so few workers.
How many workers did Stats have, you know? Like, when he was able to bounce back, right? Like, believe, Papi, but...
Yeah, but Stats plays Protoss. True. It's just different. He's got Protoss privilege, alright?
Oh, true. I was baiting that
So,
answer. That's
yeah, 100%. So here we go. Lambo is going to push in, and he does have a very link-heavy army. Plus on melee is going to be out, and I don't think there's any Archons on the field yet. Okay, one morphing in now. And this is actually looking really scary. This morph in is... Okay, another Archon. Oh, this is such an important fight for Goblin. He's getting the wraparound.
Oh, the Biles!
Biles going down!
Yeah, they go down, but the Blink's a little bit too
so
good.
nice.
Yeah, we do avoid the Biles. Overcharges popped as well. Lings, though, they're coming in from behind. That is a lot of Lings here from Lambo.
There's a lot of Link, but Goblin, he just needs to live. All he needs to do is live. He can lose this base, he can lose his position. As long as he lives, again, Zerg has 36 workers. I can't emphasize this enough. Okay, Zerg may as well start with 36 workers and it'd still be fair, okay? This is not enough workers. Protoss has such a good economy. Lambo's not killing the base. Okay, he is going to go back and clean that up. Now, he's waiting for a Ling rally, alright? So he's going to set himself up again. Now, this composition... Oh, Storm just finished. I don't think he has any Templar with energy, but this, if he gets a single-size Storm, I mean, Lambo is going to be in trouble.
Yeah, the Storm would be brutal. We do barely transfuse. We miss one of the transfuses. Queen does go down. We're hoping, I imagine, for a wraparound. There's a chance here if we can somehow get us around on those Immortals, if we can focus them down with some piles, then maybe we can win a fight, but the Zealots, they just mow through those Queens. They go down one after the other.
100%. Now, the Lings are actually picking off this other base. So, Lambo, he has done a non-insignificant amount of damage to the economy here of Protoss. And he's going to pick off the Archon and back off here. So now the question is, again, 36 drones. What does he decide to do? Protoss, again, his economy has been beaten down, and the Oracle's picking off the Ravages.
Yeah, good target fighting here by
Such
Goblin.
a great job, by the way.
Yeah, he does focus.
Still got the 4 Oracles.
He does focus down the Ravagers. He has 4 Oracles. He didn't lose one at the start, but ever since then, he learned his lesson. He's been keeping them alive. And now we're going for a big counterattack. And what's important here is the Immortals. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, only 1 Immortal has died this game. The rest have been preserved. And now we have 5 Immortals with this counterattack.
Yeah, this is going to be very, very, very hard to hold. These Immortals have at least +1, +2, +2 on the Protoss army. It's a +1 melee for Zerg, so that's not going to be helping. He's pulling the drones to try and tank here. And look, the fight is going to go okay for Zerg, but at what cost? He's got so few drones left. He's only got 30 workers. Protoss re-expanding. Oh, he's had enough.
Yeah,
he's going home. He took his basketball. He said, "I've had enough. You know, I'm going home."
And he didn't need to. Like, he could honestly, he could have tried to keep pushing from there. Like, Lambo was up against the wall, but Goblin is content to just recall back home. His third base is going to be cancelled, but it looks like Goblin is more concerned with re-expanding and having a little bit more longevity here in this game.
Yeah, well, exactly right. I mean, the longer the game goes, the better it is for Goblin. Really, the only chance he has of losing is if he somehow lost all of those Immortals there and then just died to some kind of counter. Now, he doesn't understand exactly the state of Lambo's economy, I think, so he may be a bit concerned. Lambo has 26 workers now. I mean, he built a single extra drone. Does get the denial.
That was a kill. That was a kill, not a cancel on the Nexus, so not a bad pick off at the same time. Roaches and Ravagers distracting the main army as well, picking off some Zealots. Like, these are some nice trades here from Lambo, but it's still an uphill battle.
8 Immortals right now? I mean, 8 Immortals. Okay.
I think maybe Lambo came to the same realization as you. He just like did a double take. He looked at the Immortal count. He's like, nah, mate, nah.
That's insane. That could kill like, I don't know how many roaches, but yeah, Lambo. Oh, very close game. I think Lambo did a very nice job to kind of keep himself in that game, but Goblin, he got the job done, takes out Lambo, defends his all in, and that's the first game in favor of the Protoss player.
Oh yeah, exactly, in favor of a Goblin. And with that, Goblin is up 1-0, 1 game away from taking this entire series and advancing on to face off against Stats. And Goblin is an amazing player, don't get me wrong, but Lambo is one of the best Zerg players in Europe. He's favored here. It'd be an insane upset if he were to fall this early on in the tournament.
Exactly right. Lambo, you'd really expect to be able to take out Goblin, but in PvZ at the moment, I mean, particularly on that map, it feels very, very tough for Zerg to kind of play into a normal game, and so he did go for that Queen Walk. No creep to transfuse. I really think that probably weakened his initial attack there. He did get in, but I have to say Goblin defended very well.
Yeah, the crisis
Takes
management
game
was on point. It was beautiful there from our Protoss, but here we have our Zerg player, and he needs your energy in the chat. He needs your support if you want a longer series. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the German Zerg player. For Shopify Rebellion, it is Lambo.
Exactly right, and up in the top left here is opponent. Winner of game 1, powerful defense, 8 immortals, the immortal Protoss player, it is Goblin.
Yeah, crazy good defense there. I thought for certain that Lambo would have at least killed the natural base. As you mentioned, he had to at least kill the natural or the main army. He got nothing, and Goblin snowballed out of control. And now the pressure is on here. Goblin, a young up-and-comer in Europe. He is leading the series. One more, and he will cause the upset. It's going to be pretty insane.
Yeah, Lambo here, he's going to be familiar with this. You know, he's a very, very experienced player at this point. I mean, Goblin as well, also very experienced by now. And we'll see how he chooses to take this. I expect him to take a more macro-focused approach here in Game 2, especially given this map. There is, I mean, we did see the game here earlier between Stats and Young Yakov. It does have a lot of opportunities for Zerg here. You know, there's nothing too unusual, and the 4th and 5th base are somewhat spread out, which does allow for some sort of multi-pronged ability here for the Zerg player. So we'll see what comes out. I think Goblin, I think he's going to be feeling confident. I think we'll see a relatively standard game out of both players, and it's really just going to depend what their mid to late game plans are.
Not gonna lie here, when you started that off, when you were like, you know, Lambo, he's experienced, he's been here before, you know, it's just like any other day, down against Protoss, true, Papi. I mean, you know, it's he's in his comfort zone. It's
exactly right. Oh, I lost game 1 to a Protoss player I should beat. Oh no, it's just, you know, it's Monday. You know what I mean? Like.
Oh god, not like this.
Like, all right, let me get my morning coffee. All right, I'll wake up.
Oh god. But as you mentioned, I want to echo that as well, right? Lambo, I imagine he's going to be going for a longer game. You know, with a failed all-in in game 1, I imagine he's going to be calming things down. And I'm sure Goblin is going to be aware of that as well. So now we get to sink our teeth into what these two have to offer in a more back-and-forth mid-game. Goblin going for a Stargate opener, and he'll have an opportunity himself to show what he's made of in the mid-game.
Exactly right. Very, very standard openings for both players so far. Here comes the Adept. What's he going to get? Okay, nice micro from Lambo. Impressive. Very well done. Queen's coming out. They'll be ready here for the Oracle. And we'll see what Lambo's going to have cooking here. I'm just curious to see. When's he get his Spore Crawlers? You know, I'm a Zerg nerd, alright? I want to know, okay? Lambo? Alright, show me the way.
Yeah, there's like a couple of different ways to approach this, right? We can go Ling, Roach, Ravager. We can try to stay on Ling and tech up into Lair Tech to go into Hydras, for example, to rush into Lurkers, a similar style that we saw from Young Yakov. We have options. Likewise, though, I'm sure Lambo is also looking to react to what Goblin brings to the table. For the time being, just going to be triple Oracle into a 3rd base. Everything is as it should be. We're still kind of waiting for any kind of big point of deviation here, any kind of sign, and any kind of tell from our players.
Here comes the Oracle. Lambo's Queen's not quite in position, but they are going to get over here and... Okay, gets the 1 drone.
Gets 1 worker so far. Takes up quite a bit of hull damage there. Thankfully, there's no Queen here at the 3rd, so we do manage to get away. Goblin, I'm sure this time going to be a little bit more attentive with this first Oracle. Won't be throwing it away.
Yeah, and this kind of game is very normal for both players. The Queen's coming out. 3rd base here for Protoss. We're probably going to see the Forge and the Twilight Council that we've been seeing coming down next. Here comes a Roach Warren and Evo, even a little bit quicker than maybe you'd normally see. So we'll see what he does.
Yeah.
It's going to be melee.
I'm curious, right? Because as you mentioned, like, Lambo is fully aware that it's not a fake out, it's not any kind of Twilight Council based open or anything like that. So to throw down the Roach Warren this early on could be a sign of aggression, or it could just be Lambo being really concerned, maybe just being really safe against his opponent, like just in case, especially when you're down in a best of 3, you don't want to make, you don't want to take anything for granted.
Exactly right. And here comes, yeah, I mean, this is as standard can be at the moment. The adapt pressure, pick off some creep here with the oracles. Very hard to contest this because those oracles will just absolutely blast down your zerglings. The fourth base has come down here for Lambo. We're going to see what he does. It is going to be melee, okay? My intuition. Yeah, I've still got something going on up here like VIP, alright?
You still got it, man.
So,
you still got it. Yeah, I'm telling you, the pro comeback.
Okay, alright, okay. Okay. Alright, there's no lair though, which is
just ignore the comment.
weird.
Just move on.
Yes. Yes, the comeback of the lack of lair here. Oh, now as I say that, the lair is here for Lambo VIP. Our Zerg hero, and very normal builds again. Okay, so I would say Goblin is playing the most standard build. We saw Stats do this. It's just Twilight Forge, Blink on the way, Robo behind it. We'll see a fourth base very shortly. He is teching up faster, so I think this is going to look towards Storm, most likely. And this is really the most common thing. There it is. There's the Storm Den, I will call it. Of our archives, of course, for Protoss. And I think this is really quite normal. So the question is, okay, Lambo, he's gone for melee, which, as far as I understand, is not the most common way to play. So, I mean, is it just going to be for a lurker transition?
We shall see as the Oracles, they get into the fourth base. 6 drones go down and we keep the Oracles live as well. Big pickups here from a Goblin as he's getting his fourth base up and running. And as you mentioned, right, it does feel like the Colossus base double robo play has fallen off quite a bit when it comes to standard meta play. So we do see Goblin finishing up that Temple Archives, should be working towards that Storm at some point. And there it is. There's the Hydrogen and there's the Infestation Pit. You called it. It is going to be what looks to be a move towards Hydra Lurker.
Yeah, this is basically as standard as you can play at the moment from both players. Lurkers against Storm, and then really the next step for Goblin is obviously going to be towards the Fleet Beacon. After he can sort of stabilize a nice little pressure. I think he's going to be forced to recall though here. Oh my god!
Oh, yeah, it does get pinned against the wall. One Stalker goes out, but for the most part, we do escape in time. No recall required. Goblin does manage to get away. Did clear up a little creep, but at least Lambo does force back the army. And bam, instantly, Hive is on the way, and that Lurker down.
Oh, he just made 11 more drones here, and that really signals that Lambo's plan is he's taking this as long as he needs to. He's going to set up the static defense. He's here to macro. Okay, there's not going to be a really aggressive timing. He's going to probably get a Nidus later on here. He's going to play with the lurkers, and if we go to a late game, Lambo's saying, all right, I'll meet you there. I will see you in the late game, and I will fight you there, which is brave, but we'll see how he does. Goblin doing well.
He's so brave,
I like
oh my
position.
god. He's going into the late game against Protoss. It's hats off, Papi. Hats off. Beautiful.
You know, it requires a special kind of courage.
It does, it does. So do see a couple of queens
perhaps it was an Irish coffee by VIP.
I see. So you pick up a couple of queens. Now what's scary here is the Storm is done. Storm is done. We're getting into double Immortal production as we speak. Lurkers aren't ready yet. I imagine Lamb is going to be waiting for his upgrades to really kick in. As a result, there might be a bit of a window here.
Live VIP. Just to be clear, okay, Lambo has 100 drones and there's 7 drones in the production tab right now.
Yeah.
He's going to end here right now with 104 drones, okay? 8 lurkers on the way. There are so many drones, you just can't make enough units to do anything in terms of winning the game, right? So what he's going to try and do is look to take effective trades. That was already good for Zerg there, okay? Goblin, I can't say it was bad for him, but Lambo's happy with that. Goblin trying to kind of not let Lambo get the positioning, and oh, this is a very scary moment.
It really is. We have a lot of storms available. Big revelation here on the lurkers. You see Goblin rotating around, clearing a lot of creep, not quite committing yet, and Lambo at least has time to make 8 more lurkers. We've got a lot of lurkers here on the table for Lambo. He should be able to keep up. If he should be able to hold on if he can keep up with the rotations.
Yeah. So really the question is going to be, Lambo, he hasn't put down a Nidus, so it really does feel okay, a nice little run by, but these odds are going to be more than enough, and Lambo needs to get out of there, and he is going to have +2 with Adrenal Glut on those Zerglings, so it's going to be them a very powerful counterattack presence, but it really looks like Lambo is just saying, I'm ready to turtle it up, I'm going to sit here on my 5 bases, and I'll see you when you've got your air units. Oh, these lurkers are getting so much damage off.
They do get a lot of hits in. It looks like 1, 2, 3 lurkers going to be going down. These storms zone them away. That wasn't the worst trade here, and at least Lambo, he's able to hold his own. And there it is, Spire is on the way. You spoke about it earlier, but we are getting ready here for an even later game.
But Goblin hasn't shown any sign of getting off this ground-based army, and I think that doesn't really favor him. I mean, Lambo, he's going to have the Spire eventually that will allow him to access the Broodlord tech, and that Lurker Broodlord is like the complete checkmate GG, you need air units. And all there is no defense over here. Okay, the Lurkers are rotating over. Those Zealots are going to get picked off, but that does pull Lambo out of position here, and Goblin very active on the map.
Very active. That's going to be 11 dead drones here toward the left-hand side. The Zealots, they get a lot of damage done. Good target firing towards the end here. We don't get anything more, but the Lurkers get caught out.
Oh my god, he's pushing in. 9 Lurkers morphing, and they are going to get pushed away. And Lambo, I mean, he was just... He got a bit cocky there with the positioning, and Goblin's getting a lot done. There is a counterattack that is going to get cleaned up by those Zealots just fine. This army's going to just style its way out. A lot of energy goes down on the Templars, and he is just going to click down this base, walk his way out, and here comes the Stargate transition. Finally, Goblin says, I didn't need it just yet. I still wanted to play on the map a bit more. There is going to be a timing here, though. If Lambo wants it, he can really just go for it with a lot of lurkers. And I think that was his plan when he morphed in 9 lurkers in the face of the Protoss player. A bit too careless, I think. And here comes the Nidus.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of multi-prong. This is a very, very critical part of the game here for Goblin. He's going to really need to make sure he's on top of his game. He still doesn't quite notice, okay. He is picking off this, but this Nidus is going to get up.
Yeah, the Nidus does finish up just in time, but there's nothing in the Nidus, so it's going to be cleaned up here at the same time on the right-hand side. Massive stasis trap catches the lurkers. Goblin able to keep up on the right-hand side and likewise forces back the army towards the left.
Goblin, how did he know?
He's cracked, Poppy. He's crazy. Oh my god. But the Nidus in the main base is going to finish up, and the production is a little bit exposed.
Okay. There is some lurkers running back to the Nidus right now. I think he might get one. Okay, there's none that make it there in time. And Lambo, I mean, this is just not enough for what he's planning to do. Now, so Lambo, I think he's really just happy to say, let me see what I can get. I'll try and get some Niduses up. It's almost like he doesn't even believe he's going to get those Niduses up. And Goblin is playing really well. This counter pressure is really nice. And with those 3 lurkers, I think Lambo can chase this army away, but it's just, it drains his attention, right? And Lambo, 3 carriers on the way for Goblin. I think he's going to have to spore up and get ready to play a very long game here, I think, for the Zerg to have a win con.
Yeah, as you mentioned,
Protoss looks good.
Yeah, as you're mentioning, it feels like the window of opportunity for Lambo has come and gone, right? Like that kill move with the lurkers that you were talking about, the Lambo was trying to go for, it feels like that window has closed as Goblin is just so solid here. There is a Nidus in the main base, has potential to get damage done. At the same time, Lambo going for a big link counterattack here right through the center. Yeah,
exactly right. He's going to pick off some units here, and it's going to distract him if there's nothing in the Nidus like the idea. I mean, he's baiting. He's just doing it for fun.
He's
actually getting a lot of damage on this 3rd base. Those Zerglings are getting a lot here. This is actually so much. I don't know if they have +3 attack. Okay, they don't. They just have armor and melee upgrades. I mean, they're so powerful though, those Zerglings.
Yeah, that is insane. In a matter of seconds, 23 probes go down, and even though there was nothing in that Nidus, damage is still done. So finally a good move here from Lambo, able to do something to the economy of Goblin, and the carriers have been revealed. And oh my god, be careful. The carriers have been revealed. They have arrived. Second Spire is on the way, and we're going straight for those lurkers.
Oh. Yeah, Lambo's gonna get chased away, and massive storms here for Protoss, and he's gonna chase it away, and you'll notice he's not remaking those probes. He says, oh, thank you, I have extra supply now. I'm gonna make a big army, and you're gonna need to be very on point to not die here. The big threat here is not so much the carriers as much as it is everything else. The carriers are just gonna allow those lurkers to not run riot over the Protoss army, and this is a very, very scary attack. I'm not sure that Lambo's going to be able to hold on.
Yeah, exactly. As you say, at this stage of the game, Protoss, they like to lose workers, Poppy. They like it. And here we go. We're pushing in. Storm's going to be zoning away. Those Zerglings Corruptors have arrived. We're diving for the carriers. Archon's not quite in position. First carrier goes down.
Yeah, if you can see here, Lambo, he's not so worried about the carriers. The Corruptors are just going. In fact, he's actually quickly on the Oracles.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so close. This is actually so close for both plays. The Corruptors are so close to dying. The Archon damage is so much. So many Corruptors are dead, and there's 4 carriers left still. Lambo is going to need to remake this, and his economy, he's got 80 workers, but he's broke.
Yeah,
he's got nothing in the bank.
The trades, they've been too inefficient. They've been too inefficient at this point. We threw away so many Corruptors earlier. It looks like one more carrier goes down, but we've laid out every single Corruptor. And the ground enemy of Goblin is still terrifying here. Been so efficient with his trades. Very impressive here from Goblin. But he is backing off. He's giving Lambo a little bit of time to rebuild, to remax.
Exactly right. You know, he's got to get the Storm energy back. He wants to have time to reinforce some additional carriers. And as more carriers start to arrive, that's when it's going to start to really become a problem. At this point still, 3 carriers, it's not the worst, it's not the scariest thing for the Zerg player just yet. It's really still this ground army with the Storms. And now Lambo, I think he has stabilized, but only for now. As more carriers arrive, he's really going to need spores. I think he had a single Viper, which is, I don't really think, going to be enough. And again, Goblin's catching Lambo out of position. There is a lurker run by.
We do have the lurker run by at the same time that the main army pushes forward. And what's scary is that Lambo has no bank. You know, he doesn't really have a way to replenish his army right now, as he does take down an entire mineral line. But Goblin is going for the kill.
Goblin's just walked up into the natural base, and lurkers, they're very good at holding a position, not so good at challenging one like this. And oh no, so many high Templars going down Goblin.
Yeah, a bit of a move command there towards the lurkers. Big pick up there from Lambo. At the same time, feedbacks on the Vipers. Vipers have no longer any energy, and we do go for the bases. We do go straight for that third base. At the same time, Lambo, his run by keeps pushing in.
Exactly right. Lambo, he needs to get a lot done here with this run by, and this is still so scary for Lambo. You cannot take it for granted. If he is out of position for even a second with these lurkers, this Protoss army is more than enough to move through. And in fact, here comes Protoss, those lurkers. It's just not going to be enough. Sure, the carriers might go down, but at what cost? Yeah. There's nothing on the ground. Like I mentioned, the problem is you get the Corruptors, and then the Protoss army on the ground it's so formidable. He does have some lurkers here still, but I mean, Goblin has gotten so much damage done.
He really has. The lurkers have arrived, and we can just walk away from said lurkers. Good yoinks here on the Immortals and on the Archons, but as you mentioned, there's no Greater Spire, there's no Broodlord tech. The Corruptors, they do nothing. They're dead supply. We recall the hell out of there. At the same time, another Zealot counterattack is going to shut down these Spine Coolers, and what is there to defend?
Nothing, like VIP, and he's given up the game. GG, Goblin. Very impressive. Just said, yep, let's play a game, and I'll take it out. Honestly, a pedestrian 2-0. He made Lambo look like a chump. Very impressed by Goblin there, and he's gonna come up against Stats next, so that'll be a very interesting match.
GG, well played. As you said, Goblin taking it to Lambo, defending against an all-in in game 1, and going for a long macro game in game number 2. Goblin able to pull off a massive upset here. Again, there's no excuses for ping. Both players are playing on EU, and likewise, Goblin able to really showcase himself here tonight. Very impressive stuff as well. Goblin, he's been on the rise for many years at this point, and I feel like last year, Goblin took a bit of a step back from the game. You know, he was less active. He wasn't partaking too often in WTL or online tournaments, but these past couple of months, Goblin has returned, and clearly, you can take it to the best of them. He's on fire right now.
Exactly right. I mean, that looked clear. You know, if you told me that was a top Protoss player, I would believe you. He looked very solid. It didn't look like there was any point where Lambo really had a chance to kind of take his advantage in that game. Goblin did a very good job splitting his army, defended that counterattack at the same time, pulled Lambo out of position, and got that very, very, very powerful position.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, cleans him up. So very nice play. I'm curious to see how he does against Stats.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the rest of the bracket is progressing. Got a lot of results trickling on in.